Have you shifted to a new timeline, a new parallel reality? I'm going to tell you the signs that you can look out for to know that you've actually shifted. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliet Cleary. I'm a manifestation coach helping you to quantum jump to your highest timeline. And if you enjoy this content, if you resonate with it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, to subscribe and tap that bell icon. If you would like to work together, or if you would like my free guide on how to quantum jump in 7 days, that information's in the description box below for you, as well as the link to my meditation channel. Okay, so big shifts are happening right now. And so many people are picking up on this in really, really cool ways that we're gonna go through in a moment. Here are 10 signs that show you that you've shifted. Let me know in the comments which ones you have experienced. All right, the first sign is that you feel different. You can't quite put your finger on it, but things like, even though some things may seem the same, they look the same, you just feel different. You may even feel different in your reactions to things. You're not as triggered by things or not having the same reactions to things. But it's like this feeling of, you can't quite put your finger on it, but you just feel a little bit different, or things just seem like they just look a little bit different, but you don't really understand why. That is something that I have experienced many times when you have shifted timelines, but you're still kind of in that, and what I mean is shifted to a vastly different, made a huge jump to a vastly different parallel reality, but you're still kind of integrating that change. And so you're not quite seeing things instantly manifesting, even though everything has changed and the path that you're on is completely new and different. So trust that feeling and make sure to watch to the end to hear all of these, because especially the last one's like really important. Number 2 is that people start acting differently toward you. So you may have people in your life who were maybe treating you not so nicely, or like a coworker or your boss or something, a family member, and all of a sudden they're really nice to you. They're different. Like they're just kind of, it's like a switch. Because what happens is everyone exists on every frequency. And when you raise your frequency, right, you've been doing the work, you raised your frequency, you've raised your consciousness, you're doing these quantum jumping methods or whatever you're using, you're now at a higher frequency. And a lot of people will match you. They will meet you at that frequency, and you will experience a completely new, not the same person, completely new version of this person. And anyone who's not willing to match you there, like it's usually an unconscious thing, they will fall away from your life. So start to notice if people are acting a little bit differently toward you. Number 3 is deja vu. This one's really exciting. Please let me know in the comments if you have been experiencing more deja vu, because I know I have. And usually deja vu is a sign that you're on track. It is a sign that you have shifted to a parallel reality. And what you're experiencing as that deja vu is like, oh, I've done this before. This feels so familiar. It's like I've lived this before. And it's because a version of you has, and it's almost like you were catching up to that version. So you've shifted timelines to this new personality, this new identity, this new person. And basically you're catching up to what they have already lived. So it feels like you've already done it before, because you kind of have. So when you start experiencing deja vu more, take that as positive feedback. You're on track. So if you are experiencing more deja vu, or even just feelings of like, this feels a little bit familiar, you're on the right track. You are on the new timeline. Number 4 is that you may hear a crack, like a crack in the house, or you may get a little dizzy spell, or even like a feeling or a sensation kind of wash over you, or even like a vision. Sometimes when you're aware of this process, you're aware that you're multidimensional and you know what you're doing, and you maybe even are very intentional about even saying in the moment, like, I am choosing this reality. I'm stepping into this timeline. Being very aware of the process, and especially if you're kind of operating more so at a higher frequency, a high level of consciousness, you can pick up on the actual shifts when they're very like big or drastic. You may feel it in your body. You may feel like a jolt in your body. You may have a vision in the moment of this new reality, which I have had. You may have, you like hear a crack or something in the house. You may get like a little like dizzy spell in the moment that you've decided to shift or made this new very strong decision or choice, and you're aware, again, you're very aware of this process and how it works. Sometimes you can notice in the actual moment because you shift instantaneously. Even when you don't see manifestations or changes in the physical straight away, you shift to the timeline instantly. You're doing this all the time. And so now that you know this, you may be able to pick up on little things that happen when you actually decide whether you say I'm stepping into this timeline, like I'm choosing a new reality, I choose this reality, or maybe it's making a strong decision that's in the direction of your new expanded life, your highest timeline. Maybe it's a new choice, right? And you'll be able to kind of sense the shift. Now, again, you're shifting through many, many parallel realities every single second, but this is for those kind of bigger shifts, those bigger jumps into a reality that's vastly different from the one that you have been in. Number 5 is that there are small details that are different. So you may do a process, or you may do a meditation or a visualization, or you wake up in the morning and there may be little details about your reality that are different than the day before. Maybe it's an item that you had placed in a certain area and you were 100% sure that that's where you left it, but it's somewhere else. Maybe it's something you own, or a neighbor's car, and the color is slightly different. So there are always slight differences in every parallel reality. And so you can kind of start to get aware of like, hey, this kind of looks a bit different, or I swear this wasn't like it was. And you'll start to notice little things like that more and more. Again, you're always shifting through parallel realities. That's how our physical reality experience works. So we're not moving through time. We're just constantly shifting to another parallel reality that seems a little bit similar. But as you take bigger jumps, you will start to notice more synchronicities, more little signs that you are in a different parallel universe. Number 6 is that you look different. Maybe it's like you can't quite put your finger on it, but you seem to look different. Or you may get other people who you've known for years telling you that you look different. There's something different about you, even though you're doing all the same kinds of things. You haven't made any drastic changes to your appearance, and yet they're telling you you look completely different, or maybe they don't even recognize you. Whenever you shift to a parallel reality, so every single moment, every single second of every single day, you're actually in a different version of you. So you are not the person that was here a moment ago. Okay, you're someone new. And every new version of you is slightly different. They have a slightly different body. They have a slightly different past, right? They have different habits or different thoughts or different characteristics, but maybe you're just making very slight changes. So you're not seeing much different. But when you start to make bigger shifts and changes, you will actually start to see a little bit of a difference in your appearance. Sometimes we keep the same appearance though, to keep like a continuity, to feel like, yes, I am this one person moving through time, moving through my physical experience and, changing and evolving and growing. But that's not actually true. You're a new person every single moment. So sometimes that's why you may change drastically, but you still have a little scar on your hand, is because sometimes unconsciously we want to continue to feel like, yeah, I am the same person. Like I'm not a completely different person. You want to feel like, yeah, this is me. But when you change anything and you make any new choice, you are literally a different person, and that can show in the way that you look, even in really little subtle ways. Maybe even one eye is a different, like slightly different color than it used to be. Number 7 is that you can feel your desires as more familiar and more real. So when you think about them, when you imagine them, it just feels closer. It feels more real. It might feel more vivid. It just feels very kind of more normal, which means that you are in resonance with that frequency that they're on. You are actually on the timeline of them, and that's why it feels so natural and familiar and real. Number 8 is that your habits or your likes and dislikes have changed. You might feel like you don't want to do the same things or see the same people. Maybe there's new things that you're kind of drawn toward. You're not doing, a lot of the things that you used to do, or maybe they're not resonating as much. Maybe you've got a change, like a sudden change in diet or lifestyle, because you're a new person in a new timeline. If you start acting or behaving like a different person and it seems to just kind of be coming more naturally, then you've got a different belief system in place. Therefore, you're a different person in a different parallel reality. Number 9 is that people or circumstances start to fall away from your life. As you raise your frequency and therefore become a different person, therefore have quantum jumped to a different reality, you'll start to see a lot of things falling away from your life. Maybe like a relationship, friendships, maybe jobs, maybe you quit your job, or maybe you're just feeling kind of pulled to something new, something different now. Things that you were doing before don't really resonate. Maybe you get fired. Either you are led to take some action, or it just kind of happens to you. Like something happens and these people just leave your life, or you just stop talking, or there's just situations, even like with your body or your health, sometimes the illnesses or things can just kind of fix up, or you find the perfect answer, solution. Again, when you've raised your frequency, whatever is of a lower frequency doesn't exist up there and can't really survive if that's where you are more of the time in this new timeline, where those things, those problems don't exist and they never did. So they start to fall away. And this can happen initially just in little things. So don't be so like, oh, the big things haven't gone yet. Just focus on the little things that are improving, that are changing, or that are falling away. Let whatever is not resonating to fall away. And that can also be beliefs and thoughts and habits. Number 10 is having different memories. So when you have shifted timelines, you will often find either you have different memories than some of the people around you. Maybe it's like your partner, your family, who, you have like they're remembering something completely different to what you're remembering. Or sometimes you kind of remember a little bit of both. Like you kind of remember what they're saying, but you also kind of remember what you're remembering. And not all the time, because sometimes that could be like just a bad memory, right? Like a lack of remembering it. But a lot of times, especially if it's happening over and over, and this is happening so much collectively with the Mandela effect, but also individually, people are having different memories. They're starting to remember a past that they feel like they didn't even really have. I've experienced this with my family, where I have remembered a certain, childhood memory, and they all remember it like very vividly and very differently, which showed me I'm in a new timeline where the memory that I still kind of have is not what this version of me lived. I can still remember the other timelines. And so that's what's happening a lot collectively, is as we're raising our consciousness, we're able to tap in and realize we're multidimensional. And this is like the Mandela effect, right? Where people are collectively, like some people are only remembering the new timeline, right? They're only remembering the new memories. But there are a lot of people who are either remembering kind of both or remembering the previous one. And so when this starts to happen a lot, not just like collectively, but individually with your own memories, like again, I've heard so many people who are saying, I'm remembering, a past that I didn't even know happened, or I'm remembering past life memories, which is actually happening simultaneously now. There's no past. When you are finding that you have new memories or other people have completely different memories, that is a big sign that you have shifted, especially if it's memories about your past individually. That is a sign that you're in a different reality and that you don't need to, if it's a negative memory, you don't need to keep picking that up, telling that story, carrying that with you, because it's actually no longer necessary and no longer part of who you are now and where you're expanding into. You may even experience things like you're thinking of something and you can't tell if that memory was real or if it was a dream. Did it happen? Did it not? I've had so many of those. And I'm just going to throw in a little extra bit here, is you'll feel differently. Like you'll feel maybe happier, maybe lighter, maybe more relief as you're moving into your expansion, as you're allowing your expansion, you're allowing your frequency to rise, and you're shifting into this fifth dimensional consciousness, this new earth. And you're shifting into, therefore, your highest timeline and the things that you've been wanting. So these are the signs. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this and if you're experiencing any of these. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, to share it and to subscribe. And if you would like to work together, that information's in the description box below. Have an amazing day and I'll see you next time.